the community leaders.
Sorry, where you support one of the.
You know, it was 3 to 5. Anytime you're ready.
Talk about himself. That's all. Exactly.
Technology, is in order, Island Ranking Committee meeting, first meeting for the month of the year 2023. And we thank everyone for being here today. Our first item on the agenda is James Island drainage status.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We've got 2 drainage studies going on. One is the camp basin study, which Thomas and Hutton was awarded. We've had our kickoff meeting and they've already started to gather some data. This is the area that starts right behind the American Legion, takes a portion of Folly Road, goes over to Yorktown, gathers all that, goes under Bishop Gadsden, and then goes across Camp Road at St. James Episcopal and outfalls there. So they're going to study that and also Centerville, which is part of that basin, and see if the system meets current level of service. What can we expect in the future, and is there anything that needs to be on a maintenance list or a capital improvements list? So
Does Centerville share an outfall?
no,
with that?
no, Centerville outfalls into James Island Creek further up near New Britain.
Okay.
So yeah, they have, I think, 2 outfalls just for Centerville, and then there's another one that goes down Folly Road. So, but that's all sort of the same basin as identified in study that Thomas done here a few years ago. The other one is James Island Creek Basin study that W.K. Dixon was awarded. They gave a scope and fee proposal to SCORE, who has the grant for it, but the cost was above their budget. So they're waiting to hear back on reevaluating the scope and fee that they sent to SCORE to see how that is, and then they'll get started on the in-depth study for the James Island Creek Basin, which is basically this side of Folly Road and around camp and everything. So they're going to be doing a deep dive into that.
You know what the revision was? I guess we were involved in discussing the original scope.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we don't know what they revised down to.
In favor or writing and see the current proposals.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, thanks for the art. I really appreciate that. I think that we'll be speaking again. We have the James Island project for the Ocean View Zone Coast Drainage Project.
Right, we have a few projects on here, and I'm going to lump some of these together because Nikki and I have talked with the engineers recently to get updates and see where we are on everything. Ocean View Stone Post, Thomas and Hutter are the engineers for that. We had a bid opening last Wednesday, and the award is expected to go to council tomorrow night. So that will get started. And as you all remember, this starts just up from Ocean View on Fort Johnson Road. I think the community is called Patriot Point, Patriot something. But anyway, it starts there, goes down Folly to Ocean View,
Down Fort Johnson.
Fort Johnson. Yeah. All these. Anyway, goes down Fort Johnson to Ocean View, down Ocean View, just a few houses before the outfall goes laterally towards Stone Post. And really 3 main property owners back there that we had to secure easement from, which we have. And we're going to commence doing that, reestablishing the canal that was in there at one time historically and has since just deteriorated. So it's also part of the project is there's going to be a maintenance shelf there, so we can maintain it properly moving forward. So we got that's going. And then Quail Run, Seaside, Honey Mill Drainage, and Highwood Circle are all being engineered by Stantec. They actually put Highwood Circle out for bid before Christmas, and they didn't get any responses. The comments they got were that everybody was finishing, all the contractors were finishing up other projects, and they just didn't have any time right now to bid on it. So we're hoping in this new year that they have time freed up and they can do that. So all three of these, we talked with Stantec, and they feel that we can put them all out at the same time in February, beginning of March, when they finish securing the last of the permits. And so that's what they're going to do. We'll just see how all that goes out. Briefly to explain Quail Run, as you'll remember, we've been having quite a few failures crossline pipe there. That neighborhood was built in the 70s, and they used corrugated metal pipe. Well, they didn't put any protection on the outfall. So not only do we have fresh water from the rains coming into the pipes and sitting there, but we have salt water backing up at high tide, and that really corrodes everything. So this project really has three main components. There's some pipes that need to be just cleaned out. There's some that need total replacement with RCP, which is brown concrete pipe. And then there's others that can be slip lined. So as part of that project, they're also going to put backflow preventers at the outfall to keep that seawater from coming back up into the system and soaking it all in. So that's what that is about. The Seaside Honey Hill basically starts at Seaside Lane by the high school, and then goes back behind the Dominion Energy Station at the end of Green Hill, comes around to the end of Williams. There's a disconnect there, and we're going to reconnect that to behind Honey Hill, and then it outfalls right down here at the boardwalk along with Simpsons Creek. But all of that is going to be reshaped, dug out. There's a maintenance shelf involved with that. It's all going to get cleared and formed. And then we think we can maintain that moving forward. Good byproduct of that. Once that's done, we'll have a place for water on Green Hill and Williams to go. And so those ditches can be rehabilitated, and all of that area will hopefully not flood in the future like it had to. So, let's see. And then Highwood Circle that they did out, if you'll remember, 1,000-year flood we had a major called catastrophic failure of that system, and went into a 20-foot sinkhole in the backyard. Yeah, which has been repaired and everything. But those pipes are also corrugated metal pipes and are prone to failure, as we know. And those are either going to be replaced with RCP or they're going to be slip line, combination of the two. And Mary, you'll remember looking down into that sinkhole, there's actually two lines coming out, one above the other. That's all going to be consolidated into one line, so they won't have twice the chance of failure in the future. So, but those are all going to be bid out here in coming weeks. So, any questions?
So thank you for that. And so we've already finished it. That's pretty quick.
Well, we like to consolidate.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. If anything, so no one has any questions anymore.
You were gonna talk about the TMPM?
Yes, that's the last thing on here. You'll notice I passed out the summary of the last testing numbers, and you can see the Harborview Road Bridge gets some really high numbers. And it just is a matter of is the tide going in and going out and that sort of thing. But we are studying those, keeping track of this and seeing what the trends are. What I would like to do is put these trends and stuff on our website under the James Island Creek TMBL, so we can chart that and have that information out there. People can see, you know, if it's dry weather, we have this amount. If it's wet weather, we have this, and how that goes with the seasons, because a lot of this is also affected by the seasons and migrations and things like that. I think last year we found that when the birds migrate, there is a spike in the fecal bacteria counts.
So the consultants have racks that they've been using. I guess you can put them on the website and they can go right form. This sounds like a great idea. So this is really weird. It's a normal quality road grade was way higher than Harvey Road Bridge. And this is just one dry report.
In January.
And that, so the Harvey Road Bridge one, they don't just like on 8,000.
Yeah.
It's just really like an outlier to me.
Yeah, well,
That's just one measure.
yeah, that's just one measurement that they took, and it's interesting to note that not only Folly Road is down below 3 digits, but Janelle Drive, which is also close there, is just 189.
Jim Island Drive is closer to Harvey. The bridge.
Right, exactly, but they're both upstream.
All right, now we can talk this phone.
Yeah, it must be Plum Island.
Yeah, right, I don't know. But that is, very cute.
It is,
Is there any way they could take more than one sample at a time just to get some sort of reliability measure on it? Because I just wonder, I mean, that just is such an aberrant high number. I know they didn't know the number they were gonna get when they took the sample.
right,
It's almost 100 times.
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's like higher, you know, hardly anything, I don't think we've seen anything on any of the sites in the last 2 years that are that high.
I mean, I would say that's cause for concern, if it's real.
yeah, well, and that's the thing, because it's so wildly different from the other data that we've gotten, makes you question, you know, is this, yeah, maybe some of the
Well, you know, at the next, what do you call it, steering committee,
Task
task
force.
force,
Yeah.
we need to question. Wolfer, is not about, I guess Wolfer, yeah.
Could be reading it already ready to symptomatic of a sewer spill.
It could be, it also could be maybe some homeowner decided to. Yeah.
That day,
Yeah, right then, you never know. Also that is real close to the fish camp restaurant, so maybe they have an issue. I don't know, but it is something that we should, you know, follow up on. I do know that when Mulberg does the collection, they'll take 2 containers. I have watched them do that. When they go down to 2 Mile Drive, I try to go down there and take pictures, things like that.
Maybe ask them if they could test the other sample.
Yeah, well,
well,
I
I
would
would
make
mention they did it, this is.
yeah, I'm-
That's right, I don't know, I was like, that's just even scarier, but, or maybe they're both the system. So, Charles, what was done test of it? So we're not getting tests out there, but we have, there's years of data from that water meters,
Mhm.
and it's just a pattern, it's the Harvey Road Bridge, it's very awful. Generally, you can swim there,
Mhm.
right?
Not today.
But then up in the Folly Road Bridge at Ellis Peak, now where the on Folly Road, that bridge is more problematic.
Mhm.
And then this is completely backwards.
Mhm.
But where the Harvard Bridge is, aren't the, I mean, doesn't Plum Island have some of their feeder lines coming into the plant in that vicinity?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I don't know their ability to detect or discern a small leak, but I would say that if you're continually getting these kind of readings, like you won't know till you do it over time, but that number stays up high, it's got to be a continuous source of contamination.
They should do some testing.
So go ahead. So the PSB runs has a pipe that runs under under there, and the also water system. They both have their 2 pipes from the machine, and they did dye testing last summer,
Right.
and you know did everything was good. I guess it always good.
As far as they can see, there was no. leakage.
But then we haven't had bad figures, but yeah. I guess we should have communicated with the PSB, the Coastal Water System, about this.
Not yet. Not that I mean, I have, I don't know. if all of them is.
Yeah, Charleston Water System should know about this. And
Well, they're included in.
Are there
So
some
they're-
for additional testing?
Yeah, we do have in the budget, for, it's called microbial trace testing. And I don't know if any of these samples were sent down to Florida for that, but they do keep some on hand if we look back at the data and say, oh, yeah, we want to have this tested for.
It might be worthwhile just to at least test the Harmony Bridge area just to see if that number's staying up as a constant or it's just an aberration.
So how it works is the county and the town and the city all pay shares to Walton Engineering. And they got this agreement to get monthly report, get monthly test, and then they report it quarterly. And I guess this is the monthly test, right?
Yes.
Not quarterly.
So we're gonna double in a month's time. Or
Yeah, they're getting ready to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be anxious to see if that number is just way different, like falling more in line with these other numbers. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
Also, let's share this with the water keepers. I know they've tested on both or two, but I think they might find this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to the next test. But the only one. In any case, there's I don't think the test, a single test.
I'm just saying that number is so striking. I mean, you know, it's such a, it doesn't look like something that's.
So the next test, is that gonna be one of the dry tests or is that gonna be a wet test?
It depends on the weather. I mean, if it's,
So they do it by time and then they just put it into whether it's dead wet or dry, right?
right.
Uh,
And
They're required to do a certain number of web tests.
Yeah.
So they, most of they watch them, they watch them.
Right.
Whether they do one or then in dry test time, they can just, do it almost any time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to get some close to the time of the retest. So if it can be a dry test, I think that would be a better measure of verifying this result.
Well, yeah, you can certainly replicate the conditions, the time of day, and I guess the preceding weather events as far as, you know, rainfall and all that sort of thing. It could be done similar, maybe make that number probably more meaningful.
So Kathy and I noticed that there is this flock of photo card calls that are just constantly over in the water by the bridge.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
It's not
fault. It's their fault.
Now, it could have been the items on the other side too, right? Or they're hanging out on the top.
Of course, on the other hand, it could be why are they leaving?
Yeah,
because
there might be a lot of fish coming back too.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm sure.
Well, then we had to do sewer, watch a while back. That was the close possibility to go.
it was, but that had been cleaned up. That was like a year ago, and the creek was flushed out several.
Just wonder, maybe you hope that there's not some kind of new problem.
Well, that's what we're
If that
trying
number
to
stays up, I'd say it's where it's smoke and fire.
So you're right, you're right, leave on that number and so far, different from all the other numbers.
So at the meeting, we call this. Or parts of it. Or they might have.
I think
They're on the list.
Yeah.
You say, if you didn't know this, we did it,
Yeah.
and they can say, for sure it's not. You know, so Plum Island actually, middle harbor, but
Well, I got to see that. I mean, you can see it bubbling right here when I was at the plant. You can see that they coming right up, you know, when we have to go through their treatment. I mean, it's from me to her. I mean, it's from the bank. It's not far off from there.
really,
No, I mean, I'll put my eyes right on it and stand there and watch it. Oh, bubble out. That's their discharge one. Great tour, you take it up. I mean, it was pretty fascinating. They do some amazing stuff there. That whole facility is amazing. You know, the whole chemical, biological and I guess physical processes involved in reducing it down.
so that, I don't remember from what they're governmental, I guess, right? They're running a new under James Island Creek right there, that they'll be able to switch on the backup pipe. So they are working, but I guess they should check.
I guess if we're prone to this, it seems like if we some economy and having some continuous testing until we know that we've got levels that are acceptable and maybe strategic, triangulation or whatever, where they are about to pinpoint where the source is.
Well, that's what we're doing. It's not, it seems like a good idea, but we all, the county, the town, the city all have to be doing it because James Island Creek was ruled impaired by.
Yeah.
And then we have hired Walker to be testing this stuff. So we are gonna be keeping up.
CWS has also been pretty good about volunteering to do some additional testing as well.
And then,
So they've jumped on that.
and there's a big push to try to get sewer to those households that are adjacent to the creek. Yeah, we get them all set.
We'll work on it. But it also incentive, making sure that, or,
And, yeah,
and really assisted.
I will, one thing that will help the testing Wolford moving forward, it's not as technical as what Wolford does, but it is indicative that there may be a problem. We have joined with Clemson Extension to have host the salt water adopt a stream program. We have a kit here, a test kit that can be taken out by people who are qualified for that. We've had it out once now by somebody who's testing in Stone River. But the goal is to get more people qualified as volunteer citizen scientists. And they can come out and test not just around James Island Creek, but also in Clark Sound, Stone, the harbor. And we can start getting that into the Clemson database.
So other than this, there was no highlights from the staff level meeting, I guess it was last week.
Yeah, no highlights. Basically, it was one maker and I talked
Many
about,
people didn't come.
yes, people did not come and DOT didn't come either. They tend to not, and I try to really get them to participate in this one and they did. So,
Then, in the arrangement last week, how did the trade system hold up?
it did very well, as it has the last few years. Just to explain, over the last 10 years, we've been, and we, meaning the stormwater managers on the island, county, city, and us, have been playing catch up after decades, lots of decades.
Deferred maintenance.
Yes, exactly. And we're taking, the preferred industry approach. Instead of when Mr. McGillicuddy called to unpermitted, clean it out, instead of just going and clean hers out, we look at the whole system. We start the alcohol and work our way back.
It's good stuff to me.
Yeah, because if we clean it from McGillicuddy, where's the water going to go?
For the next plot.
Yeah, exactly. So we just do away with all that and just start the alcohol, work our way back. And as that's what I say, we were partners in this, in whatever neighborhood, it's water doesn't care what jurisdiction. And a lot of these neighborhoods are broken up. So we divvy up the work. We did White House Point over here, I think 2 years ago. And the way we did it is City of Charleston did all the roadside ditches, Charleston County did all the outfalls. And if there was a driveway that needed to be replaced, whatever, because of broken culvert, then we took that on.
The White House plantation.
White House Plantation is down over here.
I saw on the city section of the now over here, something's pretty over the. Well,
Excavator.
anyway, so I guess they're working on it. Did they ever clean up the pipe over here? That's been.
Yeah. Simmons Creek, our section of Simmons Creek has been cleaned out. The city section back here has been cleaned out. And I know they did over office section built as well. Next step to that, if you'll recall, a few years ago, I actually took the survey shots down that back section of Simpsons Creek to figure out where the elevation was too high or too low or whatever. And city came in and then evened that all out so we could have proper flow and not a lot of ponds. It's about time to do that again. And we have all the equipment. We'll take care of that this spring.
The city cleaned out the pipes under, let's say, Louds Road. That's not what it's called.
No, by land, no, they have not.
What's it called?
Lansdowne.
Bandstand.
Yeah, they have not done that outfall yet, but now that they've got Citizen Creek cleaned up, that's the next step. They can do that, and then we can do our section across the street. there.
Okay.
So that's all the questions I got. Well, one other thing that you should, since you're the drainage committee, I'm working with Clemson Extension to host a resident seminar on what can a resident do to help with stormwater on their private property. And this will be things like rain gardens, rain barrels, trees that are good at soaking up the water, that sort of thing. We haven't worked out the details yet. It's going to be hybrid, probably will, but we definitely going to have an in-person component, and it will be sometime the end of March, beginning of April. We're thinking Monday evenings around 6 o'clock here, and then citizens can come in and participate in that. And we'll see how that goes.
A great idea. The, so, you know, the, contract that's before council, about 800,000, right? Twice the estimate. That's the one we're in.
Yes, there is.
And we're going
So
to,
this is for the quail run.
No, it's, ocean,
okay.
ocean, you know, that one.
We've done those.
800,000.
Yeah, it's not good, that goes.
I'm just afraid, you know, the other three there, I'm doing it from a five.
Kind of like rapid inflation.
I think it's just worrisome. It's not just the overall inflation rate, it's all of us government entities. Have all this money and we're bidding out public contractors.
What happens when you put a lot of cash in the system?
Yeah. Right. Anyone else have any more questions or comments? No, okay. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate your thorough presentation. Sure. Like doing it solo like that. You know.
Well, yeah, I had all the information, so.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I just call this meeting adjourned. Thank you for everybody for coming, especially, I'm sorry, I really appreciate that. You making a point of coming. So, but again, I'll see you at the next quarterly meeting, whatever that would be. And
It'll be, let me see, I have that here.
We already have it.
Yeah, May 10th, Wednesday, May 10th at 3 p.m. here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mark. I think we'll get it.
Yeah, and hopefully I can we'll have some of these projects, underway, and we can have some reports on that.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you so much.
That's what I call a good meeting. Like that.
Yeah.